Yes, my audience, let's welcome the next guest on Spyon TV. His name is Sam Adewumi. He's a poet. His recent work here is Songs of Life and Living. Nice to have you on Spyon TV. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
I've been looking forward to
I've been looking forward to getting on too.
Thank you. Before we get into cracking the nuts, let's just have a sit and talk more about your work.
All right, wonderful.
You know, I gave a little bit of introduction of you. I would like you to introduce yourself in your own words to the audience.
You know, it's funny, this introduction. I don't necessarily always think of myself as a poet. I just think of myself as someone who's put words together, and somehow or other people find a way to actually enjoy it. Right. And so it comes under the ban, I guess, of poetry. But for me, it's just about trying to express different thoughts and ideas and concepts in a way that people can really feel it and respond to it and own it, you know, even more so than I do at certain times.
Right. Speaking of not introducing yourself as a poet, I don't see the reason why you shouldn't do that. Because all of your work I've read, I've came across, is a work of a poet.
Well, you know what it is. You know, there's this thing nowadays where poets are like, you know, these wordsmiths, and you know they know how to rhyme, and they know how they move, and they memorize 1,000 poems and all that stuff. And truly, I don't do that. You know, an idea comes to me, a thought comes to me, a concept comes to me, and I write about it. You know,
Great.
Okay, it comes off as poetry, you know, but for me, it's more about getting that inspiration and just having the ability to just articulate it and put it down on paper in a way that I believe that people can identify with and people can feel, you know, and that's the thing. Like I want people to feel my words. It's
to
not
relate
just about,
to your words.
Exactly, to relate to it, not just hear it, not just have to, you know, I've been to like some poetry events where, you know, you sit there and you're trying to figure out what the person said. The words are so difficult that even with your dictionary right next to you, you can't figure out what they said. You know, I'm not that type of poet or writer. You know, I want my audience to be able to understand me and be able to understand me very easily. You know, very clearly. You know, but deal with some complex ideas and situations. You know, at the same time.
Great. You know, you have done a lot of job. This recent one that I'm holding here, Songs of Life and Living, it's not just fascinating. It is very, very captivating.
Oh, thank you.
When I picked up this book the first time, I didn't leave my seat.
Oh, thank you.
I sat down. I make sure I read this book over and over.
Wow.
When I was on the train, I was reading this book.
Wow.
And I'm not just saying it, because I did it.
I'm humbled.
Yes, man. There's a page in this book that is more fascinating.
Yes.
So can you please read page 7 for the audience?
You know, wow, let's see, page 7.
Page 7.
No, that's in the that's in the early segment. In the early segment deals
I urge you all to listen to this page 7, please. Whatever you're doing, stop and listen to this page 7.
And I don't want to read all of it because I do want the audience to, you know, to go find out the rest of what happens. But page 7 deals with a poem called I Know. And it speaks to us, and this is in the chapter called Encounters.
Right.
And we all come through different parts of life where we meet people that inspire different things within us, and most of the time those things are good for us, but sometimes those things are kind of questionable,
right?
You know, and because of who we are, we have to answer that question, you know. So I'll just give the audience a little bit of it, because this actually is one of my favorites too, because again, it's real, and that's what my poetry is about. It's about real life situations, real life things that we encounter.
Yes.
So I know I'm not supposed to. I know I should know better. I know I can do without. I know I can resist this temptation. I know all would ask why. I know they would disapprove. I know. But you know what? I know how it would be. I know how it would start. I know hands would gently stroke the other's face, necks, shoulders, arms, thighs. I know gentle kisses would follow shortly. Let me just stop right there.
Like I said,
I think you could imagine what the rest of the poem is happening. What happens through the rest of the poem. But also, there's this aspect of knowing that what's happening is should it really be happening is a question mark, you know.
Right.
And I think we've all been through that where we want to do something, we're doing something, and we're questioning why we're doing it. And is this really the right thing for us to do? You know, and so that's what this poem is about, is I know, but I really don't know.
No.
You know?
So it kind of leaves you at the age of wondering, what do I know?
Exactly.
Is it right?
Is it
what I know? Is it the right thing?
Exactly.
Or is it the wrong thing?
Exactly.
Is it poor?
Exactly. Or am I doing the wrong thing known as the wrong thing?
You see, the great thing about poor, they have a kind of things that will keep you wondering.
It's true.
You read poem with a mind of a poet.
Yes.
You read poem with a mind of anticipation. Because poem is a word of life,
but you know
of
what?
living.
When you write the poem, you also write the poem with that same spirit of anticipation.
Right.
You don't always know what's going to happen at the end. You don't always know how this is going to end up.
Sure.
You sometimes have to, you take yourself out of the writing and just let the experience itself reveal itself. And that's, to me, the deeper aspect of poetry, when you release yourself and let the poem come through you.
Yes.
You know, and that's, I can't say that's an easy thing to do, and I can't say that I always do it, but it is, when it happens, it's almost, you know how people say, you know, God spoke through me, or God spoke. It's almost like that.
It's like a revelation.
Exactly. It's almost like a revelation, because you didn't have this thought yesterday.
Right.
You didn't have this thought 2 minutes ago, but all of a sudden you're writing. And it's coming through, and you just let it go, and you just let it release. And at the end, you realize what you have. And you're like, wow. Yeah. You know? So I read my poems over and over again sometimes and say, wow, who wrote this?
Listen, Samuel, all your works I've read are very, like I said, they're very, very fantastic.
Thank you.
Well crafted.